boys, I just want to clarify as well. Are we actually going to talk about the Nations League
No.
in this podcast?
No.
Thank God. I nearly had a heart attack.
I would have loved if anyone said yes.
If I hear anyone mention Iceland, Denmark, or Albania, I'm fucking gone.
Hey, there's a massive game on Friday. Latvia against Faroe Islands. Can't wait.
No.
We're there.
I don't understand actually why we're even considering playing our game in Albania.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Hey, UEFA, fuck it off.
Do you know what?
Hang on, lads. Live from the International Space Station. Hello, Dale.
I've made it.
What, first orbit?
Absolute nightmare. I think I'm sorted.
Mate, what you filming on a Motorola Razr?
Oh, mate. I've unearthed a laptop from about 6 decades ago. That's it.
Desktops then.
Dale opened up his internet browser and he's just come up with www.yeolduporn.com.
Wait, what's that? I've never heard of that before.
Yeolduporn.com. No, doesn't ring any bells.
Don't go on sites like that, mate.
What is the agenda? What should we discuss first up tonight? Should we discuss the 4M1C derby?
Yeah, we need to talk about the derby, boys. Now, should we gloat first, or should we let Josh vent first?
Josh never got a say last week because he missed the old podio. So, Josh, take the floor, please, mate.
We started brilliantly. We started exactly how I wanted us to. Passed it around well. Took the goal really well. Bernard, of all people, wasn't expecting it. Took it really well.
Great
Turned
finish.
him inside out. And then as soon as we scored that goal, we just switched off. It's like Everton of old, we get a goal and we think we can sit back and defend that against top clubs, and it's not the case. You can't defend against Man United team. None of the Premier League teams, I don't think, for that amount of time. So what was it, like 70 minutes? Something stupid like that. You can't sit back and defend. I mean, and we proved that. Like, we were just appalling. I think you went and scored your goal, 5 minutes later? Couldn't even last 5 minutes, I don't think. I was fuming. I was absolutely raging, to be honest. And I said this in the group chat. I thought that we actually played some half-decent stuff in the first half.
Yeah.
And I think the third goal obviously just came from the fact that we were really pressing at that point, and even our defensive line was so far up the pitch trying to press for that equaliser that it was inevitable that you were going to have a couple of breaks. Cavani was sat right up there, wasn't he, waiting for it on the last man. So, you know what, right? On the flip side, I'm really pleased for him scoring his first goal in the Premier League, though, because he gets a lot of criticism. You know, Farmers League, coming from France, still scored all those goals in the Champions League. That wasn't Farmers League. He scored quite a few for his country as well. So, yeah, glad he's off the mark, unfortunately, against Everton, but that's always the way, and it has been all my life, where somebody's on a duck and then they go and score. But, yeah, I don't really want to vent too much because I was absolutely raging. It ruined my weekend. It really did. And it doesn't help when you boys are rubbing it in either.
You do that.
You can't defend like that against top clubs, but you also can't defend like that against this current Man United side, mate. You get punished.
I think for me, you said about being inevitable. When I saw Doucouré blast that shot over the bar in the 90th minute, I knew we were going scoring another one at that point. That was so inevitable that was either going to change the game 2-2 or we were going to win 3-1.
Yeah.
You were just, like you said, you saw the two sides of Everton there. You saw what we saw for the first 4 or 5 games, and then you saw last season Everton again, just collapsing under pressure. And I'll move to United. Like, fuck me, I didn't give us a cat and mouse chance. I thought Ollie was going to be gone again. He has proved me wrong again. Remains to be seen whether this one's a fluke or not. I hope, we said this last week, I hope it's not a fluke, and I hope that the boys do get behind him, and I hope that he does turn the season around. I don't think he will, but if he does, I think a win against Hughes, sat near the top of the table, will definitely be the catalyst for it. International break has come at the wrong time once again.
Yeah.
Fucking sick of it. Absolutely sick of it. Bruno's best game in about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Quite comfortably. We
It's
look
an odd game, I thought, for him. And the commentators picked up on it as well. It was a bit of a weird one. He was in a lot of physical battles.
Yeah.
He seemed a little bit annoyed at times.
Well, we said that, I remember when you signed Alan, and we said this on the podcast. I was not looking forward to you playing us because I didn't like the thought of Alan going against Bruno. And I think they definitely had a plan to stop him. I think we look so much better with Martial back in the team.
Yeah.
Like,
He
even
doesn't
though
look quite right to me, though.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't look confident.
He doesn't, but we look way more balanced with him in the team. I think that's been apparent in the Champions League as well. That we've
Focal point.
He is, yeah. He is our number 9, like by number and by position. Now, whether Cavani will take that role on eventually, while he's with us for the short time, who knows? I thought Harry Maguire had a fucking storming game. I thought he was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, best game since his debut.
He was my man of the match. For me, he was my man of the match because he marked Calvert-Lewin out of the game, made him non-existent, and he won that I saw. Is my internet working properly?
Yeah.
Been around occasionally, but it's all right.
I thought I was stuck in time then for a second. I was like,
I think one controversial thing talking about Harry Maguire, lads, was the apparent penalty that we didn't get. What are your boys' opinions on that? Because I've seen Harry's obviously come out and said, I don't think it was a penalty because maybe I pushed Pickford, which, all right, fair enough. But Pickford again has gone out and left a clumsy challenge on someone.
Kept the ball in that was going out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the same way that I see any penalty happen, I always think to myself, if that's anywhere else on the pitch, what would happen? I think in that instance, it would have been a foul. I just think maybe the arm on Pickford and maybe the referees and the VAR cut Pickford some slack a little bit because they know what he's like. And I think that's kind of saved him.
Shit.
In the end. So, yeah, I think it was a penalty, but...
regardless of what Maguire did, like, Pickford, he's literally swung a leg at him and booted him in the stomach. Like, I don't think the issue is even about the penalty anymore. Like, why is Pickford such a mad bastard? That's what I want to know. He's like he's constantly just like on the edge.
Yeah.
And the ball comes to him, like he'll make a mistake and he's like looking at the cameras going, laughing and stuff like that. And
I'll fucking do it. I'll do it again.
He's just off his head. Like, honestly, you're looking at him and you're thinking, what's he going to do next? Like, who've Everton got next after international break?
You know what? I don't even know.
I'm pretty sure you've got a bit of a rough run coming up now after us, but you just think, like, oh, what are you going to do? Like, say you have Spurs next game again. I know you've played them at the start of the season, but you're thinking to yourself, fucking hell, like, is he going to see Harry Kane running through on goal and just fucking punch him in the head or something like that? Like, what's he going to do? You just don't know what he's going to do. He's just so mad. And I think when you brought a keeper in on loan, I'd be dropping Pickford. I really would. I just think he's a fucking liability.
This is the biggest problem because both his managers have given him a massive fucking favour.
Yeah.
Because Southgate's come out and said that there's no competition and he's not going to drop him, which is a massive kick to Nick Pope. And we'll talk about them later, but Alex McCarthy at Southampton, by the way, who is the best English keeper in the league at the moment. And then Carlo, when he did drop him the other week against Newcastle, but he said right before the game, don't worry, he'll be back the next game. Well, what does that say to Olsen? Like, why have I joined?
It's ridiculous, really. I don't see what they see in him unless it's something to do with his pure footballing ability as a goalkeeper with the ball at his feet. Yeah, his distribution. And but the problem is that he pulls off as many world-class saves as mistakes that he makes. So what do you want from a goalkeeper? Do you want someone that's just going to be solid, maybe miss a few of the almost unsavable ones that Pickford might actually get to, but then they don't go the other end of the scale, or they don't make those mental mistakes? Which would you rather have? Now, I think I'm right in saying that he has the highest number of goals, errors leading to goals, out of any other goalkeeper in the league. Now, if you've got ambitions of top 6, top 4, you can't have a goalkeeper like that. And as a national team, I know we're saying we're not really going to mention it much, but at the same time, like, he's going to be our hopes for the Euros next year if it goes ahead, and the World Cup in 2022. Now, we've got a team, a squad of incredible world-class players on their day. And I think a squad, man for man, equally as good as some of the best in the world. Belgium, France, Germany, possibly, Spain, possibly. We're better than Brazil. We're better than any South American team.
Yeah.
So are we really going to put our hopes as a nation on someone that makes so many stupid mistakes? And I just don't understand the thinking behind either of the managers so publicly backing him. Unless it's almost like a last chance, right? Well, I'm going to give him that final bit of confidence by coming out in the media, and maybe Southgate's spoken to Ancelotti, and maybe they've said, do you know what? Let's both come out, publicly back him. If he carries on, then even after publicly backing him, he's still not performed or changed his ways. So then we've got no choice other than to drop him. And if he carries on, that's what's going to happen, I think.
I don't know where you all stand on this modern goalkeeper shite, but if Pickford's distribution has got anything to do with him keeping his space in the Everton and the England team, get the fuck out. You're a goalkeeper, save shots. That is all you are there to do. Save shots. I couldn't give a fuck how good you are with the ball at your feet. I couldn't give a fuck if you could pick a 70 fucking yard pass to someone on the right wing near the corner flag on the other end of the pitch. Save shots, then get good at the other areas of the game. It's like this weird obsession we've got at the moment in the Premier League with ball-playing defenders
attacking
ball
right
out of the back. Fucking defend. Just defend first. Everything else can come afterwards. I'm not asked about you spreading the ball across the back four, looking for a good route into midfield. Get the fucking ball out and defend. And if you're good enough to play the ball across the back, fantastic. But there's very few defenders in the world who are good enough to do that and have not even the confidence to do it, but you've got to be cool under pressure. You've got to be seriously cool under pressure to be able to handle to be able to handle strikers bearing down on you like that. And it's the same with the goalkeepers. Save shots as a goalkeeper, defender's a defender. It's all I want from you. It's all I want from those positions. Anything else is a bonus.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, Chris. As a goalkeeper, all I'm looking for really is your number one job is to keep the ball from going in the fucking net. Save the shots. Save that. I don't care if you can pick out a passing 60 yards in front of you. You know, I don't give a flying fuck. Save the shots. But I think with Pickford, what I would say is those sort of split decision moments is where he has he just does not make the right decisions whatsoever. And I think that's part of some of the errors, mistakes that have incurred while he's been keeper for Everton or England. Also, I think how old is he? Is he still young? Early 20s?
Who's at the MotoGP?
What was that?
Yeah, I've got the window open, pal. I've got the window open.
Valentino Rossi.
fucking reddish Grand Prix in the background. What's going on?
I completely agree with you boys. For me, goalkeeper's got to be making saves, and I'm going to draw comparisons now to Marc-Andre ter Stegen for Barcelona. Now, he's an incredible shot stopper. He's absolutely amazing. But in that Spanish league, that's where all this passing at the back started.
Yeah.
Back in the day, knocking it along the back line, Barcelona used to do it for fun, and it was at a time where people didn't really know how to handle it. Because they used to stand so far off the defensive line that they had the time to do it in the Spanish league. But you'll notice these days that they don't do it. Not as much anyway, because they clocked onto it with Barcelona doing it so often that they used to push their front line and press the defensive line and the goalkeeper. And it happened with Victor Valdez back in the day. He used to cock up quite often with that passing it around because he wasn't confident enough on the ball, or he wasn't good enough on the ball, that they would start to concede daft goals. And for some reason, in the English game, we've started to adapt this passing it along the back line like they used to do in the Spanish league. But you can't afford to do it in the Premier League because the forwards do press. There's a lot of wing forwards now. Man United and Everton have both got usually 3 up the front. You've got a left and a right winger and a number 9. And do you really think you're going to get 20, 30 seconds on the ball? You're not. As soon as you get that ball to feet, somebody is going to be on you within 2 seconds, 3 seconds. You can't mess around with it at the back.
Yeah.
I think if your goalkeeper can distribute it, I don't care if it's accurate, just kick it past the halfway line where it's out of danger and make saves.
Yeah.
I don't want him to, if he can, great, but I'm not really that arsed if he can pick a pass out 70 yards upfield and get it to feet.
See, I'm in complete disagreement with you boys. I'm in complete and utter disagreement with you. I think a modern day goalkeeper, if you can't use your feet, you're not a professional footballer. Like these footballers, it's not difficult to pick out a pass. Like it's really not. If you've not got the composure, knowing that you've got a striker coming to you and you can't get rid of it, leave the pitch.
Well, they should do for what they're paid.
But yeah, that's what I mean. Like the keepers, 9 out of 10 times are failed footballers, right? Like they go in net because they couldn't quite hack it when they were about 6 or 7, and they go in net and then they become amazing. But they're still training with some of the best teams. You watch any sort of training videos, keepers hit some of the best free kicks you'll ever fucking see. They are brilliant with the ball. I always reference there was a goal in the 2006 World Cup. Argentina scored a goal. You probably remember which one I'm on about. It had about 26, 27 passes in it.
Yeah, I remember that.
That doesn't happen if a defender shits himself and lumps it upfield.
Who were they playing though?
Oh God, I can't remember.
I imagine it was someone like Panama.
14 years ago. 14 years ago. But the point still stands. Like I'm in complete disagreement. I want my defenders and goalkeeper to play the ball. I love, especially Ederson. Watching Ederson is a joy. For a keeper to start counter-attacks the way he can spread passes better than most central midfielders can. Like, if you can do that and be a top keeper, like, why not? And like what you said, Lee, about the England team where we've got world-class players and on the day, I think that is the biggest problem because on his day, Jordan Pickford is a fantastic fucking goalkeeper. Jordan Pickford on his day is one of the best shot stoppers in the Premier League. But he just doesn't have enough days anymore, and I think that's the biggest problem. But no, I'm in complete disagreement with the four of you. Like, I want my keepers and defenders to be able to play the ball. We signed Harry Maguire because he's a ball-playing centre-back. And he's been better at it this season, don't get me wrong, but... Go on, Chris.
No, all I was going to say was Jordan Pickford's not the best shot stopper in the league because he's not saving the shots that he should be saving. That derby, he made a fantastic... I can't remember someone... It was a header off someone, and he made an amazing save. But... Let's be honest, in the current laws of the game, Mane was offside. Now, we all hate Liverpool, but none of us think that was offside. None of us think Mane was offside. There's not a fucking chance in hell. Why is Pickford not saving that? If that was the old offside rules, Pickford's cost you the derby again. For the second time in 3 seasons, he's cost you the derby again.
Yeah.
It's not good enough.
I'm not saying it is good enough, and I'm not saying that his distribution warrants his starting place. Like, I fully think that Olsen should be starting for Everton now. Just like I think even Nick Pope or Alex McCarthy should be starting for England. But this whole idea of keepers are there to save and save only, I think is so wrong. Like, they have to be able to do both, in my opinion. Like, De Gea got found out for it for a while, and he's got better, but he's still not wonderful. Romero's really good for it, and we can tell when Romero plays for United. Unfortunately, we're not going to see him play for United for a while now because he's not in any squad, is he? Romero's distribution is outstanding. He almost looks lazy when he plays, but he's just so nonchalant and casual that the way he spreads the ball is brilliant.
I don't remember anything that the keepers do with the ball to feet. Like, I think Alisson's a good keeper because I've seen some of the saves that he makes. Like, I think De Gea is a fantastic keeper because I've seen some of the saves that he makes. Not once have I ever seen a keeper spread a passing for. What a great keeper!
If you watch Edison on a regular basis and see that most of City's counter-attacks start from Edison. Do you remember the United-Liverpool game, actually, last season, where Salah scored that last-minute winner? It was 2-0. It came from Alisson's distribution.
Did it come from Alisson's distribution, or did it come from us trying to push for an equaliser?
Well, yeah, but your keeper's got to have the ability to find that pass. Brandon Williams isn't finding that pass. And he's an outfielder.
How dare you? I love Brandon Williams.
I love Brandon Williams, but I'm just making that comparison. Like, a goalkeepers have to have the level of distribution as at least a centre midfielder, in my opinion.
Yeah. Sorry, Lee, I cut across you then.
Right. All I was going to say was one of my issues with this whole playing out from the back stuff is not necessarily the goalkeeper, but more to do with the insistence of doing it even when it's not going well. So the Man United, obviously, I use because I think that they're the biggest culprits from what I've seen so far, is that they're so insistent on playing out from the back, even when it's not working, that it just goes wrong too often. And the amount of mistakes we've seen that have led to goals from Man United's defence is ridiculous over the past couple of seasons because of their insistence to just carry on doing something that's going wrong. And it baffles me. Like, it doesn't necessarily happen against the bigger teams all the time because mostly they'll have the ball a bit more than we do, or they're letting our defence have the ball so that we can so they can crowd us out in the middle of the park. So one of the things I noticed, especially with City Liverpool, for example, the other day, was that Liverpool's forwards were doing an incredible job of cutting off the passing lanes to Rodri so that the ball couldn't get through. They didn't need to press City's defence because they couldn't find that first ball. And City were still continuously playing out from the back and they were refusing to do anything different and try and go long. Now, one thing I say all the time, especially with Man United, is that they continuously try and play out from the back even when they're getting pressed and they lose the ball more often. Yet, when a whole team is pressing up against you when you're playing around the back, surely it makes sense to me to put a ball in behind. Like, the defence and the whole midfield are pressed up. So if you've got forwards like Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, sitting on the shoulders of defenders and they're expecting you to try and pass it around the back somehow, goalkeeper over the top into the spaces in the channels by either side of the goal of the box and get the defenders turning, because then that makes the players second guess. They think, right, well, they're not just going to try and pass it around the back now for the rest of the half or for the next 10 minutes. Am I going to press them, or are they going to put it in behind us? And that's the problem. I think that there's not enough variety nowadays. You either are a team who hoofs it up, or you're a team who plays it around the back, and that's it. There's no in between. I think that's what it gets me most with this as an issue.
But is that not an issue with how the teams line up? Because I'll take United as an example. If we're struggling, the United Southampton game last season, the 2-2, where they pressed us high for 90 minutes, I don't want De Gea lumping it up to Martial because he's not winning a single header.
No.
Like, we're basically just giving him the ball. And then he's also not good enough to find that long pass behind. That's where you need someone who is like an Edison, an Alisson, a Pickford, who can find the pass. I get exactly what you're saying, but I think United's reluctance to change is just purely because we haven't got the out ball. We have got no outball whatsoever at that front line. Juan Mata was playing right wing. He's not going to win any headers. Like, if you're going to lump it forward, it needs to go wide. And our 2 wide players on weekend were Mata and Rashford.
Yeah.
Rashford, who still can't jump properly because of his back, and Mata is about 4'12".
I did notice that one of the main issues for us against Everton, and they scored their first goal from it, was they won every single header that came over. A flick on. It was a flick on from Calvert-Lewin to Bernard, who slotted it home. And there was a period where I think it was Lindelof missed 3 headers in a row, like lost 3 headers in a row. It was just a simple ball up to Calvert-Lewin, who got the flick on three times in a row. And I'm thinking, that's an issue. If he's losing that header, then Maguire should be going up for challenging it, not Lindelof, who keeps getting beaten. Because those flicks on is what's costing us. And I noticed it so often, it was pissing me right off. I was like, someone else go and do that job, because he's obviously not doing it properly.
Well, it was Lindelof's goal. It was Lindelof's fault, rather, for that goal anyway, I thought. Because wasn't Lindelof the one that was, like, as slow as fuck to fucking close Bernard down?
Yeah.
No, it was Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka kept him stuck.
Wan-Bissaka. I thought it was Lindelof's fault. I had it in my mind that it was Lindelof that was closing him down at the time. Do you know who's awful at playing the ball out from the back? Leeds United. They're the ones I think of the most. Leeds United. They insist every game on playing the ball out from the back, and they have conceded so many goals. Stop it. Stop it. Don't do it. Don't do it anymore. If you're a Leeds United defender, listen. If you're a Leeds United defender listening to Four Manx One Toffee podcast, firstly, welcome. Secondly, put your fucking foot through the ball and get out of the area. Stop it. I fucking mean it. It stresses me out watching him. It stresses me out, mate. If you can't do it, clear it.
They play some of the best football in the league, and it stems from playing from the back, mate. Yeah, they've struggled the last 2 games because of no Calvin Phillips. That is a fact.
What's you're saying? Calvin Phillips would have been responsible for scoring 4 more goals and then getting a 5-4 over Palace. It's not just that, mate.
No, we're playing out from the back. Like, you're talking about that, not scoring goals.
No, I'm talking about conceding goals. Like, just don't do it.
Back?
Lead. What's playing?
They didn't concede from counter-attacks. They didn't concede from counter-attacks. They didn't concede from mistakes at the back.
So you're telling me, from watching Leeds United all season, they've not conceded any goals from being sloppy at the back and giving up possession?
No, of course they have, yeah. But it's more apparent this last few weeks, because Calvin Phillips hasn't been there.
No, I think it's deeper than that. I think it lies deeper than that. Listen, Phillips has been a good player for Leeds this season, and I think he is. I agree with you on that. I think he is being massively missed by Leeds. But they have a lot of fucking problems. A lot of problems, Leeds.
Good.
Glad.
Yeah, back now.
Sensational. Right. So what we're all laughing at here is Chris's handwriting is he's just banged over the prediction sheet from last weekend. And we've decided to make a bit of a game of it, haven't we, boys? Predictions for game weeks: 1 point for a result and 2 points for a correct score. Now, there are only 4 participants this week, as one of the 5 decided can't be asked.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I can't even remember what I put. What did I put?
I'm tallying scores on the doors, but I just want to confirm to everyone, Josh, you're on nothing, mate.
I had a wobble, and forgive me.
Although, looking at these scores, we won't be much further ahead than you, because it was a weird weekend once again, boys, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very weird weekend.
I was thinking some of these. Oh, do you know what? I was close on 2 of them.
So we're starting with Brighton v Burnley, which no one gave a fuck about.
Yeah, everyone. It was 0-0, wasn't it?
It was 0-0. No one got it right. Everyone
I'd have said draw. For that.
Yeah, of course you would.
Do you know what? I actually believe you.
Yeah, to be fair.
I always predict draws.
Did anyone watch it?
No. Next.
No.
When was it? Oh, Friday.
Yeah, it was the R5 on a Friday. Why are they putting games on at R5 on a Friday?
It's all at work.
I like it, though, because I'm on the train back from work, so I'm watching it on my phone.
Yeah, see, I don't mind it because I'm back on furlough. So, like, it's sound for me. It's sound Friday entertainment. But like you said, Lee, people that are still in work, like,
What's up with him? What's up with Colin?
He works from home, doesn't he? Well, I do, so I don't know why I'm taking the piss.
I think the more apt question is, why are they not just automatically relegating Brighton and Burnley because they're both fucking shit?
Literally, like, we were talking a couple of weeks ago about Brighton's league position and not representing who they are as a club and the football they play. At what point do we admit Brighton are shit? I predicted them to go down this season. It's looking good so far.
Yeah.
And that's why they're on at 5 o'clock on a Friday when everyone's still awake and they can't watch it. They won't sit there and suffer.
It's a great fucking point. Southampton, Newcastle. We had all four of us. Sorry, Josh. I'm eliminating you from this. All four of us getting the result right. Well, the game winner, and Dale, myself, and Chris all predicted 2-0.
You bastards.
Yeah, we smashed that, didn't we, boys?
I had too much faith in Newcastle, obviously.
That's 3 points each, that.
Yeah, that's biased. That was your dad.
Yeah.
Is it 3 or 2?
In your ear.
Two for correct score, one for...
2 for correct score and 1 for correct result. Yeah.
Oh, 2, sorry, yeah, 2, sorry.
Do you know what? I think it should be 3 for a correct score, because it's harder to get the correct score right, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll do it like Premier League then, yeah. Yeah, do 3 for correct score and 1 for correct result.
Oh, yeah. Rule me out of the game altogether.
Lee, you've just given us extra points here, mate.
Well, I'm thinking of myself further
You know
down
what?
the
It's
line.
got to be a unanimous decision, that, and I vote no. So
Yeah. I have had a request for one of my mates who listens to the podcast to have a little chat about Southampton right now. First time they've hit the league top of the table in about, 40 years? Played fantastic football. They are fucking brilliant at the moment.
Did you see that they'd released T-shirts of their league position? That's quality. That's the kind of football banter I like to see.
The fact that they changed the whole Twitter account to let everyone know that they were top of the Premier League.
Brilliant.
It's fantastic.
that's like releasing a song when you're top of the league after 4 games.
Yeah, they look really good. Something he said, Andy, was saying, like, I think the biggest turnaround from this season has been the centre-backs. Vestergaard has turned from Vestergaard into Beckenbauer, which I haven't seen enough to make that comparison myself, but if that's what he's saying, I'm taking it. I think that they've got 2 top form strikers.
Well, not anymore.
One's
No,
injured,
not anymore.
but it didn't stop them from not scoring. Che Adams scored a brilliant goal again. If it wasn't for Carl Darlow and his heroics, it could have been way more than 2.
Did anyone go on Twitter after the game?
Only to see their Twitter feed.
I saw an absolutely banging tweet, and it was something along the lines of, I wonder if Southampton are Westlife fans because they're flying without Ings.
Oh my God.
That is a banger, that. I'm sorry, but that is right up my street in terms of comedy, that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at their next 4 fixtures. Wolves away.
Oof, not easy.
They've got us at home, Brighton away, and then Sheffield United at home.
12 points.
I was thinking they could easily get 12 points there.
Yeah, at least 9. At least 9.
Yeah, 3 of them are definitely against us.
We've got so much faith in our boys, haven't we? Which is why only Lee predicted us to win on Saturday.
I would have done. And I'm not even just saying that. I did say in the group, didn't I, boys? I fancy it today.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have said 3-1. It'd have been 2-1 probably.
Yeah, we had me and Dale predicting losses 2-0 and 2-1. Chris 1-1 draw, and Lee, you got a 3-0 win to United. You were 1 off.
Yeah. Bit more faith in my boys, please, mate.
We don't need to, we don't need to talk about that game anymore. We've done enough damage.
Yeah.
Palace Leeds. Me and Chris, are we going to put the gloves back on while we're talking about Leeds, or?
Please do.
I don't need to fight you over something that I know I'm right about.
Well, I need to fight you because I need to prove that you're wrong.
This sounds like my household with the missus.
Now, I tell you what, boys, fair fucking play to Crystal Palace.
Yeah, good performance.
I don't think I think I said this a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to say it again. I don't think any of us thought that they had the performances in them this season that they brought out. They've been brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I said it on the last podcast last week. I thought Palace might be a bit of an awkward one for Leeds, but I didn't expect it to be a scoreline like that. To be honest, I think I predicted 2-1 or something along those lines to Palace, but 4-1. Didn't see that coming.
Easy.
I think when we got into it about 5 minutes ago, Chris, I know what you're saying. Leeds are the makers of their own downfall.
Yeah.
Like, they really, really do not help themselves in the slightest. They are fantastic going forward, but fuck me defensively, they are all over the gaff. And it's a good job they're as good as they are going forward because they're going to need to stay in the division.
Do you know what, though? And I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm going to stick up for Leeds United. Everyone, I think because of the Bielsa factor and the fact that they had a good few first games and they nearly got a result against Liverpool and then they got a great result against City and all the rest of it, are we and the media very, very guilty of forgetting that Leeds have just come up from the Championship?
I think so.
Yeah.
They're a Championship team with a couple of Premier League players thrown in, and I think we need to remember that. And when you take that into consideration, the Leicester game is not a shock whatsoever because Leicester came 5th last season. And Palace, is it really a shock that Palace turned Leeds over?
That was to me. But I
think it was shocking the scoreline.
I'm taking Palace as Palace from last season. And I need to stop doing that because Palace are a different team this season.
Yeah.
Eze has come in and has made that attacking front line look really fucking good. I think, Josh, me and you talked about it a good few months ago that if you've got Esse on one side and Zaha on the other, suddenly you're looking at two really class wingers. Defensively, like they're always a pain in the ass. Defensively, Palace, like we know that they're able to go and play against. I see Leeds a bit like Wolves.
Yeah.
I feel like they've been in the division a lot longer than they actually have been. Like I still keep forgetting that Wolves have only been in the Premier League, 3 seasons?
Yeah, 3 seasons, yeah.
Like, that's still baffling to me because it feels like they've been there forever. And I think Leeds is the same. And maybe that is that big club factor. Maybe it's because they were a staple of my childhood in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you
think Leeds? Who was on loan at Leeds last year from Brighton? Was it White?
White, yeah.
Do you think they are massively missing him?
Yeah.
They tried the hardest to sign him, didn't they? I think he was their number one target.
They kept offering stupid money for him as well, didn't they?
I've heard Liverpool are in for him this summer, this January. I've heard he's the big name that's getting floated about. It wouldn't surprise. He wouldn't shock me.
No, one shot because
you would go to Liverpool from Brighton, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Of course you would.
100%.
Of course you would.
I go to Crewe from Brighton, mate.
It's fair point. Chelsea, Sheffield. Boys, Sheffield are in serious fucking trouble.
They are.
Yeah, they're definitely gone.
It's such a weird situation because last season they were amazing. They were absolutely brilliant, and this year, I mean, if they carry on the way they're going, Chris Wilder looks like he could be one of the first managers to go. And it sounds horrible because he got them up. And he got them to finish in a great position last year, considering they were newly promoted. They played some amazing football. They got some amazing results against big teams. And this year, it's like watching a different fucking club. I mean, where are they now? The bottom, stone dead last, 1 point. And we all think that Fulham are going to be the worst team in the Premier League this year. They've got 4 points now.
And they're 1 point against Fulham.
They've had a shocking start, though, Sheffield United.
They have.
Apart from Fulham, who they should have beat, let's face it, they should have beat Fulham.
That's the issue.
They've had an awful run of fixtures. And after the international break, it gets considerably better for Sheffield United.
But is the damage already done?
Yeah. Do you think exactly what Danny's going on to? Like, their confidence is, rock bottom at the moment. So, if they'd have maybe got a couple of points on the road, hard-fought points against teams like Chelsea, they might have taken some confidence into those games and got the 3 points and started slowly building their way back up? Or is it confidence is shot now and these games that they should be winning, they might draw, they might lose a couple? I imagine they'll pick up a couple of 3 points here and there because some of the football that they played for their goal against Chelsea was fantastic. It was a really well worked goal, but it was like Everton, like as soon as that went in, like everything. Oh, the master plan went out the window. Then they got a goal, they got overexcited, and then Chelsea started running riot with them.
I think they're missing fans as well.
Yeah, they have been a bit unlucky, I think, in some games. I don't think they've deserved to only get 1 point from the first 8 games. I think they have. I think the hard work and whatever has probably earned them, I feel, a few more extra points than that. But I think the Chelsea game was the first game. I think they were absolutely crucified.
Mm. Yeah, it could have been a lot more.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I think they may have just wasted 20 million on that Ryan Brewster as well. I think he's gone to the wrong club. I think he's gone to the wrong club. I
think he's shit.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I'm going to say Championship striker.
Yeah, I mean, he was good at. He was decent at Swansea last year, wasn't he? But I think Swansea played a completely different style of football.
That was going to be my point.
And he got the opportunities. He got the opportunities to get the goals and get get in the box, get the shots off. I just can't see that happening with Sheffield United. I just can't see him getting those sort of opportunities just with the way they play. I think they've possibly just may have wasted 20 million on the wrong signing.
Yeah.
I know they were looking for goals, and that's what they lacked last year. But
listen, right, I'm no room to speak because I play Sunday nights in Reddish, and he plays for a Premier League team. But he is Dwight Gale. He is a Championship striker.
Yeah.
And that is no insult. I don't mean any disrespect when I say that, because to play at the Championship and to be prolific in the Championship is some mean feat, something that none of us have ever done. None of my friends have ever done. I don't know anyone that's ever played in the Championship.
No.
That is no disgrace. You are in the top bracket of people in the entire world to play in the Championship.
It's a better league than some Premier Leagues around.
Yeah,
around
exactly.
The world.
But there is a ceiling to Championship strikers, and I feel like players like Brewster, like Dwight Gale, to after the first 7 or 8 weeks, Timu Puki last season, Mitrovic, I think these types of players are proving that this jump from the Championship to the Premiership is just too much for them.
What do you think? What do you think it is that makes that happen, though? They can't. So, especially since some of the clubs obviously go down from the Premier League into the Championship, and then you win the Championship. When I think the winners of the Championship are always going to be around about the same level as maybe the bottom 5 of the Premier League, bottom 6, maybe 7 at a stretch, depending on how tight it was. So, what's happened where they come up to the Premier League? Is it they can't deal with the physicality? They can't deal with the pace of the game. They're just not sharp enough to make that extra run. They've not got the football announced to get on the end of crosses or get into the box at the near post in front of a defender. What is it that makes a player not quite good enough for the Premier League, but just a good striker for the Championship? It's a strange one.
I don't think it's got anything to do with physicality or fitness, because the Championship's one of the most physically demanding leagues in the world, I'd say. I think it's I think it's ability. Yeah. I think you can go back even longer than Danny said. You've got the likes of bleeding. Robert Earnshaw is a great example. Michael Chopra, he was another one. Adam Lafondra, yeah,
Sylvan Ebanks Blake.
Oh, what a guy! You've done it. You've pulled the name out.
What an absolute player!
Yes,
Nugent, mate. Nugent's another one.
Look at us. We're reminiscing about these players because we know that at one level they are fantastic, and it's just that, like you said, it's not the physicality for me. I'm in complete agreement with you. It's maybe it is that just intelligence to know just when to get round that defender, when to pull the trigger. Maybe it might be pressure as well. We subconsciously might be thinking you're playing Bristol City or you're playing Man United. It could be a subconscious thing.
Well, do you think that with that in mind then, that really highlights just how good the Premier League strikers are that score a lot, and also just how good the defenders are in the Premier League. Because while we all sit here and go, oh yeah, Harry Maguire is shit, or Tyrone Mings is shit, or fucking Nathan Ake at City, why'd they buy him, is shit, they're like easily handling players that would score 15, 20 goals in the Championship. And I think, is that the gulf then? And is this also leading to why seemingly world-class or top-level strikers in the Premier League are becoming almost harder and harder to come by? Because you don't see a lot of them anymore, do you? Like Harry Kane seems to stick out for me as being the top Premier League striker. And Jamie Vardy maybe, but that's because of his pace.
Vardy's an interesting one. Vardy's a really, really interesting one, seeing his rise from non-league and Fleetwood and coming all the way up to the Premier League. Like, he is the anomaly, almost.
He's a fantastic finisher.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing with Vardy. He's a speed merchant with some of the most lethal finishing you've ever seen in the Premier League.
He's got something that you just cannot teach. That pace, I don't care how much you work at it, that is just God-given talent. Like you can't teach his pace. You can teach what you do in front of goal. And I remember watching a game a long time ago. I can't remember who he was playing for, but it was a game against County where he scored, and you could tell then that he was just levels above everyone. Like, the guy is just fucking...
But then outside them two, who else?
Raul Jimenez.
He doesn't score that many goals, though.
No, he doesn't. I was just thinking... That's why I pulled my face when I said his name.
I mean, if you were to look at...
Aguero was injured half the season.
We said not long ago, like, the age of the classic number 9, things go in cycles with football. We were saying before about the way that teams are playing in the Premier League at the moment. Like, you either got a team who's obsessed with that high press, or you got teams who are obsessed with playing out from the back, or everyone wants to play 4-3-3 now. And things just go around in cycles. Like, in 20, 30 years, you might be back to bleeding lumping the ball over the top in 4-4-2, and that's the way to go. But strikers just don't seem to be the in-demand thing at the moment. It seems to be more of an obsession with how can we make the front 3 or 4 more prolific and spread the goals around rather than just get that one focal point.
Well, which is then interesting, because if you look at someone like Che Adams, who really struggled last season, and Hasselhüttl really just put his faith in, was like, you will come good, you are going to make this partnership, and now he's looking like an actual Premier League striker. So I think that gap can be bridged. I just think maybe it takes the right manager, the right partnership. Because I don't know about you boys, but I've seen a lot more probably of Dwight Gale than I'd like to admit. And
same.
Him in the Championship, he is a fucking machine. And then I see him come on in the Premier League, and he looks like he's got 2 left feet.
Yeah. Do you think it's as well, like the players you've mentioned there, they've all been a part of teams which have sort of been yo-yoing from the Premier League back to the Championship. So, take Dwight Gale, for example. He was at Newcastle in the Championship, bagging him for fun. He comes up to the Premier League with Newcastle. Do you reckon they might need 2 seasons before they start, getting to grips with that league? I mean, look at you, like you take Che Adams now, for example. Yes, he wasn't prolific last year, but you can see there's glimpses there this year. He's had those 12 months under his belt. He's still in the Premier League. He's probably now getting to grips with how the game's being played a little bit more. He might even see a better version of him sort of second half of the season, going on to next year as well. Might be, I don't know, might be something to do with it. Might be way off, but I think the players we've mentioned there, they've all been part of clubs which are sort of up and down in the league.
Yeah. But then it's really interesting as well to look on the other side of the coin at players like Michu, who come in from nowhere, have one storming season, and then can't find all the next. It's such a fucking weird league, the Premier League, isn't it?
Well, on that note, we're talking about strikers that can't do it in the Premier League after doing it in the Championship. The current top 10 this season for goals, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Mohamed Salah, Son Heung-min and Jamie Vardy are all tied at number 1 with 8 goals each. But then you've got, it says 5th, but basically joint 2nd, Patrick Bamford. And then also 1 goal behind Patrick Bamford, Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, I was thinking
Callum
about
Wilson recently relegated with Bournemouth, joint third effectively on 6 goals for Newcastle. And then you're looking at Bruno Fernandes, Man United, who's joint fourth as a midfielder. Danny Ings on 5 goals. Wilfred Zaha, 5 goals. Jack Grealish, 4 goals. So some of the strikers are doing all right. But then you look at last season's top 10, or top 5 even. Jamie Vardy, you've got the likely candidates, Jamie Vardy, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who's done nothing this year so far anyway. It's because they keep pushing them out wide, don't they? But Danny Ings was joint second last year for Southampton, which is mad. Raheem Sterling was, and I couldn't believe that I saw Raheem Sterling's name in the top 4 there, because from what I recall of watching City, I never see him score, and he always misses chances, and he always loses the ball. My dad hates him. When we were watching Liverpool City the other day, he's like, "Oh, he's lost the ball again. He's lost the ball again. He's useless. He dithers with it too much." But last season, fucking 20
He banged them last season.
he got more goals than Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane last year that Raheem Sterling did. But this is a point. I think it's an interesting topic of discussion. Like, where does that fine line come? But I also think that a lot of it, and it is down to luck. A lot of it is down to the right player in the right team at the right time with the right service and the right opposition. Because look at, no disrespect to him, but Ollie Watkins, 6 goals. Look at the way Aston Villa are playing at the minute. Like, would he get that many goals if he had gone to, say, Brighton or Crystal Palace or another mid-table team? Do you know what I mean? It's right place, right time. It's like a Goldilocks, isn't it, of situation to become that striker.
You've hit the nail on the head there with a combination. Like, Ollie Watkins could go to Liverpool and he might not score 6 goals. I think it's a combination between the ability of the player, the system of the team, and whether that suits the player and plays to their strengths. And I think the biggest one for a striker is instinct.
Yeah.
Like, Van Nistelrooy, to cut it back to what is, I'm sure,
3.
and what I'm sure is a favourite of ours, United fans. That lad had instinct in spades. Like, whenever he got the ball in and around the box, it was a goal. You always thought it was a goal. You just knew he was going to fashion something and find some way of getting into the back of the net. And I think that's got a lot to play for strikers as well. I think instinct is a big thing. Mm-hmm. Some strikers definitely have it, and some just don't. And they'll go left when they should have gone right, or they'll make the run too early when they should have held off. And things like that, it's your intelligence to a degree, isn't it?
Well, it's funny. Important. It's funny you say that. So when you said this season, and you said about Van Nistelrooy, I thought to myself, well, I'll tell you what, because I've got it up in front of me, I'm going to look at 10 years ago. So the 10-11 season, I thought I'll have a look at, see who finished where. Now, the first thing that struck me was the number of goals was a lot less than what it is now. So the top goal scorers, there were 2 joint on 20 each. I'm considering that was only like 4th, 5th place in last year's. It was number 1, Dimitar Berbatov, 2 joint second, Carlos Tevez, and Robin van Persie was 3. So if you're talking natural finishers with the right instinct, I mean, they're kind of 3 of the best. Now, looking back again another 10 years, just for a bit of fun, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, 23 goals.
Yes.
And then you'll never ever guess. You'll never guess.
What season?
2000.
2001. Marcus Stewart.
Marcus Stewart.
Fucking hell, Chris.
Ipswich Town finished 6th that season.
Thierry Henry finished above by 2 goals. Mark Viduka, Michael Owen, Teddy Sheringham, Emil Heskey, Kevin Phillips. It's mad to think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was up there as well, 15th. But the lack of goals really in that season.
What is also mad to think is that you boys entrusted me to lead this next segment of predicting goals, and we've ended up going 20 years down the line talking about Martin Stewart.
You do not disrespect
Going back to the games, boys. No, it is mad. Like we could talk all day about like the generations of strikers and like why certain strikers work in certain leagues. Like just off the top of my head, thinking of players like Diego Forlan, who couldn't hack it in England, but then went and became one of the best strikers Europe's seen for years.
Mhm.
Like it's so strange. But none of us.
Segue, mate.
Come.
Do you want a segue, mate? Do you know who's not a top class striker?
What, the one that scored on weekend, Timo Werner?
No. Do you know who's not a top class striker, mate?
Me?
Next game, Lookman.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're going to kick off a segment. We said we were going to kick off a segment. So I nominate we kick off the segment right here. We are kicking off 4 months, one toffee, dickhead of the week. Lookman, you are the dickhead of the week.
Do you know what I always see whenever a footballer does a Panenka like that or does something mad or ballsy? I always think to myself, imagine if someone got that wrong. Like, I'm sure it happens more often than not, but what if someone gets that wrong? I tell you what, a time not to get something like that wrong. Equaliser in the 98th minute. Just leather it. Put your laces through it. What's he thinking? What is he trying to think that he'll become some sort of hero, or is he really that confident and that stupid in his own ability that he thinks that that's the right time to do something like that? And that says deeper issues for me at Fulham. That they're not quite taking it seriously.
Yeah. I mean,
What did you say then, Josh?
why is Mitrovic not taking that?
Yeah, you're right.
That is the question I was going.
Is he not their penalty taker? Is he not their number one striker? He was on the pitch at the time.
I thought it was Tom Kearney. I thought it was the captain. I'm certain I remember seeing Kearney take a few penalties last season. But
was he on? Yeah, he was on the pitch at the time. I mean, it baffles me. It really does baffle me. I like to say that at the end of the season, that could be a point that they root to regret. You know, that could have saved. I mean, to be fair, probably won't. But you know, you don't know, do you? You know, you don't know. But that could have been a vital point that, in the grand scheme of things, but we could have potentially got. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Let's move on, lads, because honestly, I don't want to spend more than 30 seconds talking about Fulham because they're a fucking waste in the Premier League. But yeah. Dick of the Week, Adoma Lutman. Thank you very much for claiming that award. And we all had West Ham beating Fulham, but nobody to the right scoreline. West Brom Spurs. We all had the right result, just none of us had the right scoreline. They left it late, didn't they, boys?
Yeah, and it was a good header as well.
Great. I really liked Sam Johnson. I feel like in another era, he would have came and stayed with United and potentially been in the role that Dean Henderson's in right now. But he was caught out there. He was caught in absolute no man's land for that header. You've either got to come and take everyone out in front of you, or you stay on your line and you catch that ball. You cannot come 3 yards and then get lost.
No.
Hesitated.
Yeah.
And he did well, though, Kane, to get up between those two defenders and get a nick on it. Like, it's incredible striker movement, I think. Just goes to show I think he's the best striker in the world at the minute, bar Lewandowski. I can't think of anyone better than him.
Interestingly, I was just looking at the stats there. In the first half, Tottenham had one goal attempt in the first half.
West Brom.
In the second half, they had 18. So he might thoroughly deserve the win in the end in my books. But
linking back to something you just said, Dale, like earlier about Sheffield United, where you said that they might nick a point here and there, and that like might help them with some confidence. I think that's what West Brom have done. I think getting that point against Chelsea, and I can't remember who else they nicked a point off, but they play with a team that they look way more confident than Sheffield United, and they've absolutely no right to. But maybe they've shown and proven that they can score against the bigger teams, and I think they're only one or two defensive mistakes away from seeing out a game like the one against Spurs.
Yeah, they've not got a win on the board yet, and they need to get that soon.
They have.
Yeah, three draws, 5 losses, I think it is. But
they beat Fulham. West Brom did.
No, Fulham beat them. And
Beat
that's
them.
Fulham beat them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm reading it wrong.
That's my point. If you're getting beat by Fulham, going down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're going down. Don't get me wrong. Like, they're absolutely going down. And I'm glad as well. They should never come up anyway.
No.
Anyway.
Leeds second team.
I know, yeah.
Fucking hate.
Probably the most disappointing game of the weekend for me, which I hyped up as potentially the best game of the weekend, Leicester versus Wolves.
Oh, I watched that.
It was shit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was boring.
They proper cancelled each other out. But I tell you what, though, Leicester City, fair play. That was a tough game. That was a really resilient Wolves team. And we'll talk about VAR in the next spot because it's everyone's favourite topic. Got a controversial penalty. That first one was never a penalty. No. Fuck VAR, because we'll refer back to Patrick Bamford in the next segment. But they sit top of the table.
Do you know?
Good lads.
I think Brendan Rodgers will have it in him this year. He'll really be going for it because he got so close to Liverpool, and they've got each other next. That's going to be an absolute cracker as well.
Go on, Lee.
No, I was just saying that I think that Leicester and Spurs could be ones to watch because Spurs are grinding out wins under Mourinho, and it's a little bit ominous at the minute. I can't wait for Spurs to start playing Liverpool and City to see how they really are this year.
My question was going to be, like you said about Brendan Rodgers, he's just gone up to Scotland and has done nothing but win silverware. Now, don't get it twisted. That league is wank.
Yeah.
But he's gone 3-4 seasons where he has consistently won a title. So he knows how to keep a team in check to keep beating other teams. We've seen them do it. Chris, put your fucking hand down right now. We've seen them do it once before. And I think this Leicester team is better than that Leicester team.
Yeah.
Are we genuinely looking at a title contender in Leicester this season?
No.
Is it still too early to say?
Not for Dale. Boom. No.
It's a no from me, Daniel.
Why not, Dale? Why not?
I think Europe might catch up with them, to be honest.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
And they've already got 4 key players out. Soyuncu, Pereira, Ndidi, Castagna. They're starting 11 players. And what have they played? 3 European games as well.
To counter argument, they've had them missing for a while and they're sat top of the Premier League.
Yeah.
Imagine like when they come back.
Yeah.
Squad
there
depth.
is that, but I don't know. I just think, yeah.
That James Justin for them looks fantastic.
Yeah, looks great. That tell you it looks really good. Fofana at centre back.
Oh God, yeah. How do they keep finding these? Is it Papi Mendy?
They got rid of fucking their scout and sent him to Everton and got a better one. While Everton signed Alex Iwobi.
It's like
bag of shit.
Mendy is like someone's 3D printed another Kante.
He's been there 5 years, you know.
Has he?
He's been there. They signed him as soon as they saw Kante.
He does exactly the same job and in exactly the same way and goes about his business in exactly the same way and runs just as much as Kante did. It's like
I don't know. Like Dale's not convinced. What about you three? Like, are you seeing Leicester as title contenders?
I'm still on a mood because you mentioned Scottish football, mate. We're having a good time here.
Listen, I can only talk about what he's done in the last few years. I don't want to talk about his time at the Scousers.
I don't know.
With Leicester, if Vardy gets injured with this sort of like, he's got European football there and international breaks in between. We didn't have a full break between last season and this season because of COVID. And obviously all the managers have been complaining about it, haven't they? Klopp and Pep Guardiola have been coming out and saying other countries have got breaks. Why have we got such a hectic schedule? They've been complaining about it for ages. And I think even more so, I think Pep Guardiola came out, didn't he? And he said after their game, Trent Alexander-Arnold, English international, injured now. It's with these soft muscle tissue injuries that they keep putting up with because of the schedules they've got.
Yeah.
If the same happens to Vardy, where do their goals come from?
I am
That's
not.
what I'm worried about with Leicester.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
they did this last season though as well, didn't they? I mean, they were brilliant up till about Christmas.
Yeah.
And then that second half of the season, they had whatever reason, Vardy weren't scoring, they weren't winning. For whatever reason that was, it just went downhill after that. So I mean, will we see something similar? But I'd still think it's going to be personally me, Liverpool and City. It's going to be one of them two, I think. Still.
Well, moving on to Liverpool and City, they played out a very, very boring, very exciting first half.
Yeah.
First half was fantastic, but second half, fuck me, fire.
Yeah, it was a really, really boring second half. Had everything first half other than a sending off.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
It's a shame. I'm not just saying this from an Evertonian point of view, but it is a shame that Kevin De Bruyne didn't score his penalty, because I think that would have made the second half much better. If Liverpool had to go for it, that might have changed things.
Yeah.
Seemed like they were too scared to give up the hard-earned point, I think, second half.
I
think City are looking poor, man. City are looking really poor.
Yeah, they're not firing on all cylinders, and this is something that you said last week, I think, Dale, that they're just not. Both of them just don't seem to have hit the ground running at all.
And that's my argument with Leicester, because this is another perfect season for them where no one really seems to be firing on all cylinders. The title, the first spot is like a hot potato at the moment. Everyone's chopping and changing. Leicester and Spurs, like you said, Lee, are the two teams that are really consistent up there.
Well, if Brendan Rodgers can go up to Scotland and win the Premier League there with Celtic, he can do anything, can't he?